Shalom, Kal Halayim, Wahawad La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rahak Wadash, double honors to the elder apostles at Great Millstone who rule well. Honors and salutations to you fellow laborers out there doing the work of truth and sincerity. Shalom also to the Fiarkwaf that believe. In this video, which I want to make it short, right to the point, this is one of the precepts that theologians try to come up with to bring in other nations which are actual Gentiles, and pretty much this is their way of trying to say that the covenant, all right, and even the promises, that was made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Theologians like Vocab Malone and other, theologians out there. You got these, apologists for the so-called Jews. You got the apologists for so-called Christians as well. And they try to make every nation fit into the covenant, but you can't, all right? And they'll take this precept, which I'm going to read to try to justify their saying. So this is Galatians chapter 1, verse 11. It says, "But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Yahweh Shah Mashiach. For ye have heard of my conversation in time past in the Jewish religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of the Most High and wasted it, and profited in the Jews' religion above many my equals in my own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my fathers. But when it pleased the Most High, who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by his grace, to reveal his Son in me, that I might preach him among the heathen, immediately I conferred not with flesh and blood." Now, that part where it says that he might preach, Yahweh Shai among the heathen, people will say, "Oh man, see, Paul was bringing in the actual heathen, and he wasn't." Click on interlinear. Go to the word heathen. The word there, as you can see, is ethnos.
Strong's G 1484. Ethnos. Ethnos.
It says, "A multitude, whether of men or of beasts, associated or living together, a company, troop, swarm, a multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus, the human family, a tribe, nation, people group. In the Old Testament, foreign nations not worshiping the true God, pagans, Gentiles. Paul uses the term for Gentile Christians. And we all know that the Christians were Jews, which were Israelites, that were at Antioch. And you can't get around that. All right, it's something you can't get around. And what they like to do is try to act like that pertains to everyone. That's why bringing out Romans 9 and 4 is so important. All right, because this is one of Paul's epistles to the churches of Galatia. All right, and when you factor in that it's in Galatia, well, it's not within the land of Israel or within the Commonwealth of Israel. But who was Paul talking about? The Gentile Christians. Meaning who? The Israelite foreigners that were scattered, all right, in these different lands. All right, so let's go from there. Excuse me. Actually, let's go to I pulled this up on Google. It's on Wikipedia. It's actually pretty on point for the most part. It says the Galatians. It says ancient Greek. It says were a Celtic people dwelling in Galatia, a region of central Anatolia surrounding present-day Ankara, which is over in Turkey. During the Hellenistic period, they spoke the Galatian language, which was closely related to Gaulish and a contemporary Celtic language spoken in Gaul. See, when you know about the Hellenistic period, that all pertains to the Jews, which were Israelites, man. When you click on it, so I'm gonna click on it. Excuse me. It says it even gives historical references. The Hellenistic period spans the period of Mediterranean history between the death of Alexander the Great, which he wasn't great at all. He's just a great conqueror. Really, he was a wicked, evil. He was a seed of the wicked. Just to put it plainly. It says between the death of Alexander in 323 BC and the emergence of the Roman Empire, as signified by the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, and the conquest of Ptolemaic Egypt the following year. The period of Greece prior to the Hellenistic era is known as a classical Greece, while the period afterwards is known as Roman Greece. So it continues on to say that the ancient Greek word Hellas was originally the widely recognized name of Greece, from which the word Hellenistic was derived. Hellenistic is distinguished from Hellenic in that the first encompasses all territories under direct ancient Greek influence, while the latter refers to Greece itself. Instead, the term Hellenistic refers to that which is influenced by Greek culture, in this case, the East, after the conquest of Alexander the says there was another piece I wanted to grab. It says yeah, con. Yeah. Let's go down a little bit more. Bear me 1 second. It was one of the pieces I wanted to grab from here. Yeah, here we go. The Hellenistic period was characterized by a new wave of Greek colonization, which established Greek cities and kingdoms in Asia and Africa. And what's between that? You got the land of Israel and Palestine. It says this resulted in the export of Greek culture and language to these new realms, spanning as far as modern day India. These new kingdoms were also influenced by the indigenous cultures, adopting local practices where beneficial, necessary, or convenient. Hellenistic culture thus represents a fusion of the ancient Greek world with that of Western Asia, northeastern Africa, and southwestern Asia, which pretty much, once the Greeks took over, and then when they transitioned into the Romans, what they pretty much did was spread their culture, and by force, by the way. They did it by force. So that's something to keep in mind as well. They did it by force. All right, because the first Maccabees, second Maccabees goes into that Hellenistic period. All right. And when you go into it, like one of the precepts to hit on that is second Maccabees 6, and it said the Ptolemaic, which, well, I'll go to it real quick before I read this word on the online etymology. Let's go to it real quick. Because I said they did it by force, and they did. They did force Greek culture. They forced Greek culture onto many of the, well, all the nations that they conquered, especially Israelites. All right. Now this is Second Maccabees chapter 6, and I'm going right to the point, verse 6, and this is during that Ptolemy, or the Ptolemaic era, because it even mentions them down in verse 8, and I think right above that as well. But well, verse 8 it mentions Ptolemy. But anyways, let's go and read to the point. Second Maccabees chapter 6, verse 6, it says, "Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew." And this is during that Hellenistic period. All right. And they were actually putting Israelites to death, all right, during that time for even practicing their customs, keeping the ancient feasts and the Sabbaths. If you were caught praying to the Most High, they would, many Israelites was killed or tortured, all right, or tortured to death even. You know, that was a dark period, all right, because here it is. Excuse me. You know your nationality. You know who you are, but you're forced to call yourself by another's nationality, and that's in itself, you know, a very horrible thing, or horrific thing to go through. All right, because it's kind of like when you watch the movie Roots, and he was beating Kunta Kinte. He was making them say his name is Toby. That's exactly how, you know, Esau would do to Israelites. All right, during that time period, and even now, because think about it, Roots. That's a movie about, the transatlantic slave trade. Bringing the Jews over here on slave ships. All right, and it was a prime example of how they would beat your culture and language about you. All right, being someone, to force their language and culture out of them, that's torture. You know, and so Jake had to endure that. All right, this is Hellenistic from the online etymology dictionary. It says of or pertaining to Greece and its culture. From Hellene in ancient Greek, it says Hellenist, one who uses the Greek language, though not a Greek. Yeah, not only using the language, but forced to keep the Greek customs. You know, so that's something that's not, talked about. The Greeks they weren't into keeping Israelite customs and language. All right, but they made Israelites, consent or force them to consent to do their culture, cultural acts and worships and or rituals, I should say, and even speak the language. All right, that help you. That history help you understand the Gentiles in the New Testament. Let's go to what was the precept I had in my mind? It's like it had a brain fart. Let's go to the book of Romans. Let's go to chapter 9. Oh, Romans. All right, here we go. Romans 9:3, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Yahushua for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises. That's who Paul was teaching. These were the Gentile Christians, Israelites. All right, because when you go to matter of fact, let's go to my other app. Let's bring that out. When you go to like I said, who the Christians were, I mean it tells you everything. Acts 11 and 26. It says, I started 25. It says, then departed Barnabas to Tarsus. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul, and when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first at Antioch. Yeah, the disciples were all Israelites, man. You can't get around that, man. All the disciples were Israelites. You can say Jews, but Jews are Israelites. All right, namely of the southern kingdom. All right, but the point is, these are the Christians. Not everyone. Everyone is not a Christian by by blood, because you go into the word Christians, it means anointed, and then the Christians make it plural, the anointed ones. Basically, they follow the anointed, and these were Israelites that followed the anointed. That's why I said Israelite by blood, or Jew by blood, because they still were Israelites that were following the Messiah. All right, you didn't have the heathen following the Messiah. They when the Messiah was born, when Yahushua was born, Herod sought to kill him. All right, and they had to flee into Egypt. See. So, I mean, how can you misconstrue, who the Gentiles were that Paul was going to? All right. Let's go type this in. Got a preset real quick. Let's get this. Let's go to, hold on, I'll pass it up. Let's go to St. John chapter 7 and 35 is good. Right to the point. It says, then said the Jews among themselves, whither would he go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? See? And this is during the time of Yahushua. Now, when you go to John, let's go to St. John 7:35. You're going to go to it on the blue letter and see what we get. For the word Gentiles. Yep, both of them say Helene. Helene, it says,
Strong's G 1672, Helene.
It says, a Greek either by nationality, whether a native of the mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies. It says, in a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship, which, one thing about looking up these words, it'd be funny reading some of the descriptions. But so right here it's trying to say that in the second part it says, however, since the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. Well, the Jews were forced to keep the Greek customs. Because you go back to, matter of fact, you go back to 2 Maccabees 6, at the top, what it says. It was going into how they was being forced. 2 Maccabees 6:1, it says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws, the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the laws of the Most High. So this is a letter, all right. I mean, not a letter, I'm sorry. This was a man, I'm sorry. All right, an old man of Athens, all right, to compel the Jews to depart from what? Their laws of their fathers, and not to live after the law of the Most High. See? And then it goes on to say this, verse 2, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus, and that in garrison of Jupiter the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. Of course it was sore and grievous to the people. You know why? Because they was made to do this by force, man. You reading the Maccabees, them fucking Edomites was doing all kind of things to Jake, man. Like I said, they was just torturing the Israelites, man. Torturing them, putting them to death for not keeping the Greek customs, man. So when you go into the New Testament, you got examples like I believe it was Timothy's father being a Greek. Let's get that. Being Greek. Put being a Greek. And Titus, I'm sorry. Galatians 2:3, it says, but neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised. So, yeah, I got it wrong. Shalakia. It was Titus, all right, that was called a Greek. All right. So, Titus, was he an actual Greek? Or was he a Israelite that spoke Greek language? All right, and maybe dressed like a Greek. Probably his parents were keeping Greek fashions, customs. Come on, man. Let's go to Blue Letter on that one. Galatians 2. Let's see what we get here. The word there's Helene again. See? Look at the Strong's definition. It says a Hellene, a Grecian, or inhabitant of Hellas. By extension, a Greek-speaking person, especially a non-Jew. Gentile, Greek. Because we know what the outline biblical usage is. All right, so pretty much, when you get into the history, it's easily understood. All right, it's easily understood. So long as the Holy Spirit is working with you, man. You can't get no actual heathen, up in that, grafting in of the bringing in of the Gentiles, which were Israelite foreigners. You can't get no actual heathen in that. All right, come on, man. It's not so. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 2. Let's go down about the 14th verse. Yeah. 1 Corinthians 2:14, it says, but the natural man receiving not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. That's why a lot of you theologians can't get it. Hell, most of Israel can't get it. All right. Romans 11:7, the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. You know what I'm saying? And everybody can't receive it. You know, just because you know you out your family, one of you out your family can understand this knowledge. And you're laboring, and you're working out your own salvation. You can see things through the Spirit because the Most High, through His Son, through the Holy Spirit, is dealing with you, man. All right, and that's why this goes over a lot of these theologians' head. They think when it says heathen, it means actually a heathen. But when it says Gentile, it actually means a Gentile. Same with the word Greek. You know, we're no, we've basically been forced to do the same thing. In this empire, all right, as a whole nation, because we don't speak our native tongue like we once did. All right, we don't speak our native tongue like we once did. We don't keep our customs and our own Israelite fashions the way we did before we was conquered or put in slavery. So it's the same thing, man. All right, it's the same thing. Just because we're called, American. Well, is American nationality? Excuse me. No, it's just a citizenship. That's just all it is. Anyways, with that, I'm gonna leave it at there. Because I think the point is made. Because, like I said, it's easily understood, man. As long as the Spirit is working with you, man. It's no different, being Hellenized back then and Hellenized now. All right. It happened all over again, but except for this time, the whole nation has been Hellenized, if you will. All right. So with that, I'm gonna end it right there. Shalom.